So remember when those other two gentlemen were in here earlier?
Yeah. Steiny and Goo.
Steiny and Goo. And I said, what is this motto that you're coming up with? The race for second place. It's the most defeatist thing I've ever heard in my life. What are we doing here? It's the start of the year. The Dodgers didn't win the division yet. Probably going to win it. Very, very good. It's kind of like when you look at the Nuggets right now. Will the Nuggets get the 1 seed? Probably. I'm done. You have to go play. So Flem was on the roast. Here's what he said about the National League West race.
Forget this talk about the wild card only. Like, forget that. Go take a shot at the big boys.
Ooh.
Like, I don't want to hear this. Yeah, they can sneak in, or that's BS, man. The attitude of this franchise should always be to take down that team, and that's what the rivalry means. I don't care who they signed. I don't care how much money they paid. You line up those two teams on the field next to one another, and I dare you to tell me that they're a whole lot better than the Giants are. I don't believe that. The Giants can go toe-to-toe with that team. They can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Flem says it, then I believe it.
There you go.
It's BS, he said. I've never heard him use such strong initials before.
After you've worked for a company for 20 years, you just let yourself go. You're like, what are you going to do? Fire me? So you just start cussing all over the radio and you say whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, and he's not wrong as far as where we are, and both teams are 0-0.
And of course he's not wrong. Like nobody's got a middle of the order like the Dodgers. Nobody. But how many times do we need to learn that sports teams aren't about one thing? Like, nobody's going to battle Betts, Freeman, and Ohtani. No one's got that. The Braves don't even have that. So the Giants don't have that either. I'm just glad the Giants actually do finally have a middle of the order. They've been hanging around with 9-7 hitters for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So now they've actually got a middle of the order. But who's got the better rotation? Now, that's actually a more fair question, isn't it?
The Giants have the better rotation.
Who's got the better bullpen?
Probably the Giants.
Okay, who's got the better manager?
Well, that's to be determined.
Okay. Again, I'm not even suggesting I know the answer, but I'm asking questions where it's not that easy to just spit out Dodgers. Well, Dodgers. Like, when Blake Snell puts his foot on the rubber, you're going to tell me that day, oh, well, the Dodgers are clearly better than the Giants. Are you sure? Are you sure? I'm not. Blake Snell has owned that team.
He has.
So, I don't know, man. Like I said before, I cannot get my brain to watch sports that way where we already know what happened before it happened. I got better things to do if that's the way you want to approach it.
Yeah, I approach it the same way I do every sport, which is we'll see. But when you get in this business and you talk about what you think might happen and predictions and all the rest, that's where you look at the division and you think, if you were to make a prediction of the NL West, for me, I would predict that the Dodgers would win.
Me too.
So does it mean that I'm going to turn off every game and just hope that the Giants go out there and find a way to have a plucky 85-win campaign and make it into the wild card? No, I don't watch sports that way either. I watch sports because I like to watch great athletes do great things.
Yeah.
That's why I watch sports.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, you set out with a goal for the offseason, right? I feel like if you really think about what the Giants were trying to do at the start of the offseason, you would have said, look, please do something about the rotation and preferably do something in a rather emphatic way, right? Let's get somebody right alongside Logan Webb who could start a playoff game. Check. Okay. Make your defense way better, especially in the infield, because that got messy. Check. Actually, while you're at it, make your defense in the outfield better too.
Yeah.
Stop putting Jock Peterson out there. Check. All right. Now, You've been looking for right-handed power for I don't know how long. It feels like Farhan Zaidi's been asking for that for years. Check. Like, the only things that you could have said that you wanted on the Giants roster are now on the Giants roster. So I think Dave's right. You can't come out of that and be like, cool, now we might win 85.
You went from 4th to maybe 2nd is the way people look at it.
Which is, again, I'm willing to acknowledge is probably the way that this would play out. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I think the point of what Dave is saying is like, why would you process it that way as a Giants fan? As a Giants fan, I process this as, let's go. We are here to play. We're like your team is saying we are going for it, which is all fans have been asking for this team to do every single year. So now there are players. Oh, we need someone whose jersey I want. And maybe you still don't because you're like, I don't know, I'd like a jersey that says opt out on the back of it.
Right.
That's what I'm going to buy because it's the only thing I know is going to be true every single winter. But there are names now. There's some names on this team. Oh, who do I want to see play? Well, I can answer that question now. Like, there's a legitimate lineup. There's a starting pitcher every day. No more openers. I mean, we haven't talked about that.
Yeah.
Look at what this does.
That's a big thing.
Well, they've essentially signed up now for too many starters. Like, there are guys who probably got looked in the eye and went, you're a starter, who today are like, am I? Or am I going, am I getting Sean Manaea here?
Well, those guys are mostly guys from the organization. With,
mostly.
The exception of Hicks.
I wonder how Jordan Hicks looked at yesterday's news. I wonder.
I'm sure there was some disappointment, but you have a chance to go out there and show it in the short term if you get a chance to be one of the 5.
Actually, I don't think disappointment would be the word, but I wonder if he's like, okay, right? But you're going to have to. You're going to have to wear it. You have to go, right. You got to wear it. You got to earn your spot. You got to show that you can stretch your arm out, all of those things. Because Farhan has been saying for months now, we really want to create a path for these young starting pitchers. Well, did you? I mean, Harrison gets to stay, but what about Keaton Wynn and Mason Black and Landon Raup and when Tristan Beck comes back? Like, is there still a spot? Because what happens when Robbie Ray is ready to go and Alex Cobb is ready to go?
They jump ahead of those guys.
So there you go. I mean, outside of Harrison, the young guys are totally blocked if everyone's healthy, and quite frankly, maybe Hicks too.
Right, but you're assuming that everyone's going to be healthy, and we know that over 162,
they never are.
Right, there's going to be an oblique. There might be a tired arm or a shoulder or an elbow. There's going to be something that happens to a lot of these guys, and I also wonder how ready Blake Snell will be at the start of the year. I know he's played some simulation games. He's done some throwing in. It's been a simulation sensation, Mark, is what it's been. Does that mean you're ready to come out now and start firing bullets in live games?
Well,
or might he need a couple of weeks?
Maybe. I mean, he threw 4 innings in that little test run a week ago. You're still 2 weeks from the start of the season. But I don't know. It's a good question. Is Doc today? Doc's today, right? All right, so we should ask Doc that in a half hour.
Yeah, and he's got a physical that he's got to clear, and I think the introductory presser would be tomorrow, which would mean that he probably, assuming he passes the physical, right?
Haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, but, they're too busy trying to find a PA announcer, I would imagine. Maybe they have Rennell introduce him at the press conference. She is the emeritus PA announcer, after all.
I just got the Giants roster moves email for the day, and the Giants have optioned infielder Otto Lopez, and they have reassigned to minor league camp outfielder Chase Pinder. There is no mention of signing Blake Snell.
Any relation to Chad Pinder?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I think so.
Chad's brother, I'm sure. Chad's younger brother.
I hope it's not his son. That would be weird.
Hope it's not his dad either.
Also weird.
Yeah. He'd probably be in his early to mid-50s. But no mention of Blake Snell.
Let's say everything goes perfect, health-wise. Snell.
Past the physical.
Snell, Webb, Harrison. That's locked. And then it's July, and Cobb has well been back and is pitching well again. And now Robbie Ray is ready. Okay. Jordan Hicks is like,
you're the long man. Come in there and be the reliever.
I don't think that's what he wants to be. I think he signed with the Giants to actually be a starter.
Right.
And you're right. Someone is always hurt. Someone's always hurt. But, if you're Keaton Wynn, how'd you feel about yesterday?
You're probably a little bit bummed because it looked like, and, Tristan Beck the same, looked like you were going to be fighting for the 5, and you still are, but back, without this news, you were fighting for the 5, maybe you were fighting for the 4, and when Robbie Ray comes back, it was either Tristan or Keaton who would have won that spot, and now you bump down to the 5 because Cobb is back and Robbie Ray is back, and now you're the 5, but, maybe you've got still a chance to pitch, and now it feels like when Robbie Ray comes back and Cobb, and you got Snell and Webb and Harrison, if Harrison pitches like we all expect him to pitch, well, now you've got a lot of these guys who are going to be stuck in AAA. And that doesn't do a lot when you're pitching in Sacramento in the summer for your numbers and your upside. That's a tough place to be as a pitcher.
There's a big-time hitters league.
Right.
Yeah. Ball travels, all of that stuff. No, it's fun to daydream and certainly getting way ahead of ourselves. So as long as you just pitch it as that, I think it's okay to daydream. But it is fun to daydream about a playoff series and think about the pitching options that the Giants now have to start a playoff game. You've got Webb and you've got Snell and you've got an experienced playoff performer even like Robbie Ray potentially toward the end of the year. Alex Cobb, experienced pitcher, all-star last year. Fireballer young guy, Kyle Harrison. I really do think he's going to be an absolute stud. I think he's going to be a star. And then all of that, and you're not even bringing up the stuff that you don't know yet, which is, does Keaton Wynn come up? And he's balling. Does Mason Black come up and he's pitching his butt off? Does Jordan Hicks actually work as a starter and is devastating because he can throw 102 miles an hour? There are a ton of options now, which is why this, to me, it's very rare in baseball, I feel like, that one player can come in and go, oh, that just changes everything. There are great players, but for example, let's say, because a lot of people said this, what if Aaron Judge had joined the team last year? Their lineup would be what? Still kind of
Yeah.
You're just like, it's a bunch of guys, and then Aaron Judge is in the middle.
Big flash in the middle of it,
just walk him or whatever. One player, but this is different because everybody starts sliding around into different spots now in the rotation, and you can have 1 or 2 or 3 things even go wrong and still have a totally viable rotation, and it changes something else. It is a signal that the philosophy that the Giants have been using in their starting rotation for the last 3 years is now officially ding dong. The witch is dead. You will not see an opener, and you will not be seeing guys get pulled in the 3rd inning because they just feel like something bad's about to happen, Alex Wood.
Yeah.
That's done. These are legit dudes now who can be expected most nights to get you into the 6th or 7th inning.
Right, and part of that is reflected, I think, by the new manager, a guy who's from the old school where you have your starting pitcher and then you ride your starting pitcher until your starting pitcher isn't effective anymore. Then you go to the bullpen. You don't have a preconceived plan of an opener or we're going to give this guy, 1 trip through the lineup. We can't give him 2 trips through because that's when things go really haywire. You got Logan Webb and Blake Snell, top 2 in the Cy Young, guys who are going to expect to have a chance to go out there and give you 6 or 7 or more. And then maybe Harrison being younger, he'll be on a little bit of a shorter leash. But when Robbie Ray comes back, he's a guy when healthy. And Cobb, they're going to be expecting to be able to throw deep and go deep. And if you have guys go 6 or 7, it's going to help your bullpen that's good become truly elite.
Farhan has used this phrase twice this offseason, and he was lying both times. But now it's finally true. When he said the offseason is now over. He did it twice. Said it after Soler, and then he signed Chapman. And then he said it after Chapman, and he went and acquired Blake Snell. But now the offseason is truly over. And it's time to get ready for baseball. And I wonder, now that we can look at the offseason as a whole and you can look at every single part of it You can look at the signings. You can look at the trades. You can look at things like Brandon Crawford, J.D. Davis, and Rennell Brooks-Moon. But this November to March experience we've just had has changed or not changed your perception of the Giants. How?
It's made me more excited about the on-field product. And that is something that I haven't been able to say in previous off seasons. The team on paper, and I know we don't play the game on paper, but when you look at the lineup and the rotation and even the personalities, who they have, they look to be better and they look to be more exciting. And the Brandon Crawford thing, sure, you would have liked for him to just ride off into the sunset and not go to St. Louis and intimate that he was no longer wanted. And the J.D. Davis okey doke was a Farhan special, and you can put the blame on the Giants, but for me, the blame lies as much with J.D. Davis and his agent for either not understanding the way that worked or overplaying their hand.
Yeah, I largely
and you
agree.
got.
Yep.
You got, JD, and I hated to see it happen, but when you look at the rules and they know the rules and they rolled the dice to try to beat them in arbitration and you won, but then you lost. So that was a bad look for the Giants, but ultimately I don't think that they catch as much heat as they do for the Rennell thing, certainly.
No, I agree with you on that. That did
It was a bad look.
But it didn't strike people emotionally like Rennell at all. Part
Right.
of it is J.D. Davis. It's a player who played with the Giants for a season
And you
a
got
half.
Matt Chapman in place, so you got better at the position anyway.
You upgraded, no doubt. You know what? One thing that they kept talking about, and I truly don't know. Like, I don't know this. I've never been in negotiations for multi-million-dollar contracts, and I've never been a professional baseball player or a professional baseball agent. I've never been any of these things. But there's one thing they kept saying about the way they did not like the Giants handling it that's confusing to me. And I wonder what you think about this. You know how they kept saying, God, I've never been a part of a situation where a team would come to us with a final offer 45 minutes before the hearing. And I'm like, how long do you need to say the word yes? Why is that a thing? Only 45 minutes. All right. Hey, JD, you want 6.5? Yeah. Okay, Giants, we're good. There, that took 7 seconds.
Right.
What's the problem with the 45-minute thing?
You had to know where the offer was coming in. It's not like the Giants came in and said, we're going to give you $1.8 million. You know, you had the offer come in a spot where you probably estimated what it would be, knowing what the arbitration figure would have been. So it's not like you had to go through that much wrangling unless the contract was really layered with incentives and other minutia, which it probably wasn't.
Well, and this is I shouldn't say this on into this microphone because the employers here at Odyssey might be listening, but I'm a terrible negotiator when it comes to this stuff.
Don't say
no,
that.
because if you're gonna write it down on a piece of paper. This is what I want, right? And put it in your pocket. This is what I want. If somebody gets really close to that, I'm like, fine. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? J.D. Davis, I want 6.8. All right, well, we're going to offer you 6.5. Especially if, as you're saying, I get it, 400,000, 300,000, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But not for a roll of the dice. That's a terrible idea if there's a roll of the dice involved. Hunter Pence is going to join us here in mere seconds.
Yeah.
But that makes no sense to me. If you knew, you're like, I want that $400,000, and your agent's like, I get it.
Just know.
It could cost you $4 million.
Yeah. Would you do it?
No.
Would you do it?
No. It's like I told you, whenever you get the blackjack and the dealer's got the ace showing. You want even money? Yeah.
No chance.
I want even money. I want to win.
I want that time and a half is what I want. I'm going in about 30 hours.
I love it when someone does that. They got a $5 bet on the table. Like, no, I'm holding out for $7.50.
Yeah.
No, come on.
Cash me out one time.